mentioned Africa Bambaataa, and Skribble mentioned Africa Bambaataa. I want to go back to your beginnings, and you didn't grow up in the Bronx. You were in Queens. So how did that music get to you, and how did it inspire you? Was there a record that flipped your head?
I'm dying right now. No, I was actually I had just moved out of Queens to Almont, Long Island, and there was this kid named Squiggy, DJ Squiggy, and he was in South Florida Park over there with these little park jams. And I was walking home from school, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? I've never seen anything like this in my life." Ended up becoming friends with the kid. I couldn't afford turntables, so I would go to his house and practice. And you know, I came from a musical background because my dad was a doo-wop singer, right? So my dad was in the Ovations and the Velvetones. My grandmother was into opera. So that's how I kind of got my musical thing going. But when I also was doing graffiti. I was a boogie boy, and the only thing I couldn't do was rap. I sucked at that. That was miserable. But so when I saw this kid doing it, I was just drawn into it, and I was like, to control the emotions of people with music and change their moods on how you play and how you program your set, and what this guy did, and just playing to the breaks and do it, and I was just blown away. And I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And my first turntables was a pair of SLB 100 straight arm that had the belt drive on it, and if you pressed the platter too hard, it would stop. So that's how I kind of learned on that until I was able to get 1200s. But you know, I was in, not just, you know, we forget it, I was part of the culture. Like there's 4 elements of hip hop, right? MCing, DJing, b-boying, and graffiti. I did 3 out of the 4 already. That's how I got Skribble. You know, so I was in it from jump, you know, and where I lived, not many kids that looked like me did that. You know what I mean? I was supposed to be in a wife beater in Capizios, driving down 86th Street, you know, playing fucking Lime and disco. So, you know, that didn't, you know, and then when I left my father for a little bit, and I moved to Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, you know, I did not fit in there at all. So that lasted about 2 seconds, went back out to Long Island, and then did my first gig, major gig at Roller Castle with them, with Hank and Keith, and Flavor was still working for Hempstead Sanitation. Public Enemy wasn't even Public Enemy yet. And that's how I met Dr. Dre. And I was on the turntables for about, I don't know, 12 minutes.
The New York Dr. Dre.
Yeah, I was on the turntables for about 12 minutes, and I was that horrible, and they kicked me right off because I sucked. And I'll never forget Dre looking up at me and going, "One day, kid," like, you know what I mean? And then the rest led to me becoming friends with Dre, who brought me into that fold, who met Hank and Keith and Gary G. Wiz, and that's how the Young Black Teenagers were born. From that,
Things got better.
then things moved along.